Hello and welcome back to another episode of Power Rangers Lore. Today we're going to talk about none other than Deviot. This is a fan requested video. They have requested several different videos of some villains, and I was going to do Deviot right immediately after I finished the last one, but I had some little issues going on, so now I'm going to be putting this out here for you guys now. Who is Deviot? Where did he come from? And why is he so evil? Now, Deviot is basically, it's his name for devious. He is very devious in the show. Just want you guys to know that. So it's a very appropriate name. Unlike the one of the generals that came before him, Trecheron. Trecheron was not nearly as treacherous as you might think for that name, but that's a completely different story. But Deviot does deserve his name of Deviot because he is very devious. Now, let's continue on from there. So, who is Deviot? Well, he is a robotic alien. That's basically all we got. He's an alien. He's not really a cyborg as per se. We don't have any hints of him being a cyborg, but he's very robotic. Alien is more like I want to say, organic robot. He's kind of like a cyborg, but he's not. It never says he is a cyborg, and they usually are very apparent when they say they are. So we'll just call him a robotic alien. He sought the power of Scorpius' cocoon and sought to work for Scorpius originally. Now that had all changed as time went on due to some other little issues going on there. This all came from the fact that he wanted the cocoon, and basically Scorpius said no. Basically full-on denied him. What was the cocoon? Well, it was basically to evolve. It allows the character to evolve into a new form that basically gives him way more power. And it was meant for Chiquina, who is Scorpius' daughter. He was basically grooming his daughter to take over, even though in early in the series she was rather weak and timid and didn't want that power because she believed that she was beautiful, and if she turned into this massive alien like her father, who was basically just a giant grub with tentacles and the like, she didn't want that for herself. Now, she ran away from that whole issue and left it behind, in her opinion. Well, Deviot saw it as an opportunity and had found long ago 3 galactic beasts that had basically been lost and forgotten. He transformed them into war zords and used them to attack Terra Venture to basically get power and the like, and to get the attention of Scorpius. Now, he was fully focused on becoming the next, basically, right-hand man of Scorpius. But then after he did all those things and the Zords went over to the good side of the good, Scorpius just basically goes, "You're not going to get the cocoon, it's not yours, it's not meant for you, it never was to begin with, I never promised you that." And he gets ticked. So he pretends to be loyal from that point on, but in truth he is not. He's scheming, he's being devious, he's plotting against everything. Now he acts like some... I don't have any problems against the British nobility, but he acts like a British nobleman. You see the collar that they have, like a Shakespearean collar around his neck. It's all big and puffy. He acts like this, "I am a hooty-tooty nobleman. I know better than you." But he's also got that condescending tone, like, "Oh, I'm the best thing ever." He gives you this backhand comments sometimes, and it really grates on you. But he's also beyond that. Underneath that allure of nobleman, he is a sadistic jerk, in truth. He's self-serving, he's very treacherous, he's even psychopathic. Just all the different things that goes on. He is not a nice guy, and he's never meant to be. And soon after he's denied, he sets up Scorpius to die, basically telling the Rangers had captured his daughter, who had previously ran away, and Scorpius went after it. He's like, "I'm gonna go take him on, I'll take care of these Rangers once and for all myself," which is very impressive for a guy who doesn't look like he can move very easily. And just as Deviot had anticipated, Scorpius, not being able to move very quickly, is mortally wounded by the Rangers, and is about to give Deviot the cocoon once and for all to finish out the Rangers because he thinks his daughter's dead, when Chiquina walks back in and sees her father one last time. In his dying breath, Scorpius leaves everything of his galactic empire to Chiquina, which basically ticks off Deviot, who is so close to getting exactly what he wanted. Now, this goes on from here, where essentially he starts working for Chiquina, but he's also kind of like, I'm going to get everything, I'm going to do what I want, I'm going to take her out like I did her father. And he was like thinking about stealing the cocoon, because she puts it on storage immediately, going, "I don't need that, I already have this, I've got new training," all this type going on. Now, he is very duplicitous, he clashes with a new general that it pops up, and there's basically right-hand man of Trakina himself, who had trained her on the planet Onyx, and that is Vilmax. Vilmax is a very cool character, and I like him a lot, but they clash a lot. Vilmax is very honor-bound. He's a good, noble warrior, per se. While being quote-unquote evil, he is opposite of what Deviot is. Vilmax basically knows he's not a nobleman. He's not trying to pretend anything he's not to be, while Deviot is. Now, so it's believed that Vilmax kind of like can figure out that Deviot's up to something and watches him very closely, and the two kind of clash on several different levels, especially when Vilmax makes deals and releases the Rangers on different occasions from going off because they make a deal in some fashion, and Deviot goes, "How would you keep the deal?" He's like, "Because it's my honor." And essentially the two clash several different times, but even to the point where Deviot wants to basically upset everything, kind of sees this loyal other soldier that Vilmax calls upon, which is Loax, and uses a control device to force Loax to fight the Rangers and make him grow strong and giant. Things go on from there. Basically, the giant Megazord basically freed Loax from the Deviot's control, and he turned on Deviot himself. Deviot was forced to flee. Basically, before he could be destroyed, his injuries he took in battle causes him to basically die at that point. So things would go on from there, where he tries to make another play, but this time he's abandoning Trakina completely and boards TerraVenture to steal the Galaxy Book. But at the same time, though, someone else also arrives on TerraVenture, and that is the Guardian of the Galaxy Book, who kind of fights off Deviot immediately, pushes him back, but that the atmosphere of TerraVenture is not good for his alien biology, and it slowly starts to kill him, which basically allows Deviot to basically shoot him with his laser gauntlets and kill him. He then recites the Karota spell that puts TerraVenture in the Lost Galaxy, and the spell also mutates Deviot into horrible monsters just too strong for the Rangers, even deflecting their Lights of Orion power-up mode attacks, and he's just on a berserk rampage at this point. Basically, they have to use, at this point, the crystals that was given to by Kai by the Guardian to upgrade their Quasar launchers and fire again at Deviot, but instead of destroying him, he just grows, and still too much for the Zords. They have to call in the Zenith Carrier Zord, the Stratforce Megazord, and the Centaurus Megazord to join the fight. After those Zords basically weaken him enough with their tornado attack, Kai hits him with a strike with the Galaxy Megazord, and at this point, Deviot is apparently destroyed. But in truth, no, he is not destroyed. He's actually survives and reverts back to his normal size, but still in his mutant form. He's still a little crazy now at this point. Now, he starts reappearing after Rangers defeated Rockatron and drains monsters of his life energy, destroying him and restoring basically Deviot into his usual form. So he's become even more of a monster at this point. He's killing his own allies, if you don't want to call them that. He's essentially like a psychic vampire, drain the life force out of them to restore his natural form. So he's embraced that noble vampire pursuit where underneath it all they are just monsters. They look normal on the outside, as normal as a robotic alien can, but it keeps away that mutation, which is pretty interesting for Deviot. That's just how devious he is. And at this point, he's also at the same time still in the Lost Galaxy, and he's forced to join with Captain Mutiny, which is another, basically, Mutiny and Deviot, they're basically playing a game of 4D chess and how much they can basically betray each other. And it's a little complicated in how much they work together, because they realize they kind of need each other. Like, he has information on the Rangers, and Mutiny has all this power. And they continue to work together, and to the point where he's almost destroyed by Maya, who is basically has been like a major contender of Rangers against him constantly. She's about to destroy Deviot once and for all when Leo stops her and says, hey, he's the one who knows how to destroy this giant monster known as Grunkor. And Deviot goes, you know what? I'll tell you his weakness was fire. And then he goes like over the, and he's like, oh, this is what you do. And then he just turns around and leaves. Now, Deviot would be later captured again by Leo and Damien when they return to Mutiny's planet to spy on him. But in Barbarax's suggestion, they wait until Mutiny returns at sunset to execute them. The rest of the Rangers arrive, and Deviot and Mutiny flee, once more, leaving behind another monster to deal with them. Now, upon escaping the Lost Galaxy, Captain Mutiny and his crew, basically Captain Mutini's castle, was destroyed by one blast from Trakina's Scorpion Stinger. I'm having a hard time saying her name sometimes. I don't know why. Killing everyone on board like immediately. Like it was like a Death Star strike. One shot. That's all they need. Also proving just how powerful they are. In Journey's End, which is the last two episodes in the series, it is revealed that Deviot had survived. We're not sure how he survived, but basically he probably genocided last second and on a lifeboat and just managed to get aboard the ship somehow. He returned to the Scorpion Stinger, claiming that he had been taken prisoner by Captain Mutiny, which, as we all know, is a complete lie. And Trakina has since been informed of Deviot's true nature and ordered Vilmax to destroy him. Deviot's like, oh, no, and basically goes, I have an idea, and just starts running away and attempts to enter the cocoon. But Vilmax basically resistance stops him, and the last shift after Deviot grabs Trakina, who had gotten too close, and dragged her in the cocoon with him, hoping that he and Trakina would merge and he would get her powers and he would be the dominant force. Not understanding that it was not going to be him. While he believes that he's super strong, he's actually a weak and cowardly, and Trakina, who had started out more of a weak and cowardly figure, had become the dominant, willful person over time thanks to Vilmax and everyone that she had taught and learned from. Now he is completely destroyed at this point. His body's absorbed in Trakina, and she gains some of his physical traits, as well as his laser gauntlets and his echoed voice. Now, her influence is corrupted by his fusion with Deviot's mind. She becomes less stable and takes on his, basically, darkest personalities. Now, after this battle, and she is defeated, quote-unquote destroyed, things would happen and he would no longer exist in her. She would have a new form when she would return, but Deviot is gone at this point. Completely devoured by the will and the darkness that is Trakina. So that is exactly what he deserved. Completely, for a villain, he went from being power hungry to believing that he was strong enough to rule, to realizing that he was weak and cowardly in the end. That is Deviot. Now, basically going on here in his normal form, he has a shape-shifting ability that is seen in one episode. He's able to disguise himself as a merchant. He has voice mimicking that he basically disguises the things, but he doesn't really use it very often for some reason. He also has laser vision and teleportation. Just like all other villains, they all have teleportation in some fashion. Now, he is very strong, able to take on the 5 Galaxy Rangers, but mind you, he is a general. He's also able to take on the Mag Defender even once. Now, again, he's durable and has energy redirection, basically able to send energy beams up his wrist to control the Galactic Beasts and the like. He's kind of good at hand-to-hand combat, able always to be thrown back in the end. He has the ability to summon monsters by calling his name, and he can summon Stingwingers to fight for him. Now, his arsenal would be none other than his blaster gauntlets, which are 2 blaster gauntlets that aid him in battle. They have lightning generation and energy lasers that he used to kill several different villains, as well as the hero of the Guardian of the Galaxy book. Now, he has a remote control device that is seen in one episode, and he's able to actually twice episodes. He's able to use it to control the Galactic Beast as well as Loax. So that is none other than Deviot himself. Now, a little side note here: you can see as one of the Mute Orgs in Power Rangers Wild Force has the head, body, and left arm of a Karota spell enhanced Deviot costume. You can see it very carefully. That's not him, mind you. That's just a Mute Org that is fused with the technology of that time period and gone back in time. Now, it's also seen in SPD that it looks very similar to Deviot. No, again, not him. They basically say it's just another alien that's very similar. It might be the same race. We don't know for certain. Now, here is another little factoid that's not really known too much. So, when the Psycho Rangers show up in the 2-part episode, Deviot's familiar with them. He even calls them old friends, even though they don't recognize him at all. Like, he has some sort of prior acquaintance with them. They could have been lost in the damaging of their, basically, data disks and the like, but it's not exactly certain how or why. It could be that they're based off of one of his races himself, the same race, or he helped create them in some fashion. It's only explained in like slight little issues, like where they came from, besides Astronema basically explaining slightly about where they came from, but that's it. There's no real saying that what other connections they might have. But remember, he is a robotic alien, so they're kind of robotic aliens in themselves, so it's hard to say exactly what their connection is. So that is this episode of Deviot, the Power Rangers lore. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good one, and may the power protect you always. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe at the end of this video. All your likes help me out, and all your watchers do too. Thank you very much, guys. I really like to discuss with you guys what your topics are. May the power protect you always.